Welcome everyone to the Hanji Hello podcast with me, your host, and welcome to episode number 9. We finally got to number 9. Next episode is 10, so expect that next week. We're gonna try and keep this as consistent as possible. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. There's a lot of crazy people out here acting crazy. I always have this thing about discussing this stuff because no matter how much of a voice of reason you are, some people are just so far gone you can't actually reach them, and then it just becomes a back and forth where you slowly work yourself up to where it affects your real life. So back in the days, this used to happen a lot on Twitter, where people would, and I think Twitter's probably still the same. I haven't been on it in a long time. I kind of removed myself from that version of social media. And I kind of took myself out of a lot of social media stuff, to be honest, for quite a few different types of reasons. Ego wars is the biggest thing. I think I'm just very cynical with a lot of what people do. A lot of it's performative. A lot of people are not like nice people. They're not good people, but they present a version of themselves which to the public seems like it is. And it seems like people are happy with that. So you don't necessarily have to believe in these causes that you're championing. As long as you post about them, everyone will think, oh yeah, this is a good person. So for me, I don't know, man. I really don't know how. For me, I feel like I just remove myself from all of that kind of stuff. People that are gonna judge you, they're gonna judge you regardless. And what you do is never enough. I've probably talked about this so many times in my personal conversations, and I might have mentioned it on the podcast, probably about taking things personally, but what you do is never enough for some people. And people will redirect their frustration about how they feel about a certain situation when there's injustices in the world or disasters or anything that's going on. They will redirect their anger and frustration onto someone that they see who has more power, or they perceive that has more online social currency or clout. And it happens every single time. And it happens all the time. So I don't know, like what people expect or how they, people have really short memories. You can be doing amazing and doing so much stuff and repping and and one thing happens where you don't reply or don't respond or don't have a adequate enough response that people appreciate, and all of a sudden everyone's against you. I say that to say that, I mean, people that are in the UK will know what's going on here right now. This is probably going to be a snapshot of the world that it is right now. So looking back, this will kind of be like, I guess, not historical, but you know what I mean? It'll be like a shot of what's currently going on. And this has happened so many times. So obviously all these English flags have been put up. You've got a lot of people emboldened in their racism, overtly expressing their prejudices against people that they perceive as a threat to them, when this is just another distraction tactic from people that are actually in power and have all the power and are using that to make the like, quote, poor people or working class or non-elites fight against each other, and it happens all the time. So this is just the latest chapter in this. I feel like when you get to a certain age, I mean, for me, I feel like I've lived through so many different cycles of this kind of stuff that I'm not immune to it, but it's not surprising to me anymore. Like, this happens and we have such short-term memories that we completely forget riots and uprisings and fighting and all this kind of different political factions, and this is happening all over the world. That's another thing. We feel like we're isolated and this is only happening here. It's happening all over the world, and there's a reason for that, and it's because these extreme views are platformed and they are given, there's like a battery pack that's put under these people that have this nonsense to spout. I don't think I want to talk about this stuff anymore. Sorry for getting a bit. And this is my other thing that I wanted to actually mention was, I do feel like there's two sides to it. This is like such a on the fence thing to say, or like it bothers me about myself that I can see both sides of this thing. But saying it is this. So one is when you kind of live in this space of these disagreements and arguments, you're just adding fuel to the fire. That doesn't mean you completely ignore them, but you literally, if you see like two people arguing and then you jump in and start arguing, then another person starts jumping and arguing. Like, where is the resolution? Like, everyone's just shouting over each other. And this is what happens in a lot of online spaces. You've got something provocative that is presented and people are just fighting and shouting with each other. And it's just a big mess of, people having these arguments online. And then I feel like there's the opposite, which is people want to break from all that shit. Like, it's exhausting, it's tiring. But then are you just distracting people from the reality? But is that reality actually reality, or is it just it's magnified to such a great degree because like we're all on our phones and seeing it on our phones? Although I say that, but the stuff that I've seen recently is actually pretty wild. How people are emboldened and saying and acting in ridiculous ways that I think they did probably about 20-30 years ago, but we didn't have phones to record it and show people. But I want to get off this subject just because, like I said, for me, I find it very exhausting, and there's nothing to add. Like, for me, I feel like there's nothing to add to this stuff. You either have common sense and realize how people are being played, or you don't, and you're stuck in that cycle of like arguing with people and fighting with them. And I don't have time or energy for that, which is, I guess, a privilege of mine as well. But see, this is my problem. I can kind of see every side of things. Like, I can criticize myself in a way that I can already see what other people are going to say. This is an issue with me that I find, and I think other people, especially creatives, is that you criticize yourself so much that you don't end up doing anything. This podcast today, I did not want to do this today. I literally was like, oh man, I gotta be consistent, and I was like, I really can't be bothered. So this is my can't be bothered doing an episode of the podcast. I hope it's helping you pass your time, or you're getting some sort of value out of this. For me, I'm just trying to be consistent, getting into a physical routine of running, which I've been doing. I mentioned on the last episode, I've been doing that consistently. It's helped me in a lot of areas of my life, and one of the things is this. It's kind of forced me to kind of push myself, and I've got this motivation to be consistent. And even if I don't want to do it, I'm still gonna do it. So we got a couple of emails. from the last episode that I'm gonna go through. Keep the emails coming in. Let me get my email address so I remember what it is. It's hanjihellopodcast@gmail.com. And this section of the podcast where I offer advice was called Hanji Help. Big up the person who suggested that like 4 years ago when I first started. And I'm bringing it back. Hanji Help. So we've got a email from a person here that we're going to read now. I don't know if this episode might be a little bit shorter than normal, just because I feel like I've got nothing to talk about. But let's see how that goes, because normally when I read the emails, I get a little bit more like brain activity happening, because I'm interacting and I'm not just sitting here in a room by myself trying to have a conversation into thin air with nobody. So it says, hey Rax, happy to hear you're back with the podcast. You might not remember me. Oh, but I was the person you talked about in your Hanji Help section from the first podcast. Big up yourself, the first podcast. So this is 4 or 5 years ago. I took your advice. So I honestly can't remember what it was that you asked for help with. I'm assuming it was some sort of relationship thing. But you said, I took your advice, separated myself. It was definitely hard, but I was able to get through it. Now I have a much healthier relationship with her, and we're both seeing other people. Okay. I'm assuming this might have been unrequited, and I told you to focus on yourself, but it's nice. I'm glad to hear that. She's just going to be a friend that I could always count on, and her parents just treat me like a son that they wish they had. Nice. Just wanted to say thank you for such great advice and all the good music that you put out into the world that helps ordinary people. You're very welcome. Thank you. That's kind. I was wondering if you could maybe talk about when you know enough is enough when it comes to relationships. I understand that we all have baggage and we unpack more as we get to know our partners better and better. But when do you draw the line and call it quits? I'm currently seeing somebody and it's the second month in, and she's not fully over her ex that she was married to for 5 years. It's been about 8 months since they broke up. That's not long at all. It's been about 8 months since they broke up, and about 3 months since she divorced him and moved out. Wait, so 8 months, 3 months since she moved out. So like a month after she moved out is when you started seeing her. Right. Okay. I just need to get that timeline in my head. As time goes on, I know she's still healing, but still wants to get to know me as we can't control timing of when we met. We have different love languages, financial backgrounds. She has a mother that's dependent on her, while I'm very independent as a person from my family. I know we all come from our unique problems, but I'm trying to see the best of her. When everyone who's known me for several years tells me I should call it quits already, what should I do? It's a really interesting situation that you're in. Like, to be perfectly honest with you, she's not ready for a relationship. Yeah, she's not ready for a relationship. She was married for 5 years. She's been divorced for 8 months, and she's only moved out 3 months ago. She needs a time to heal and to kind of discover herself. I would say to you, I mean, similarly what you did with the other person, like, if you like each other, if there's obviously potential there for something more, you just have to take things super slow and allow her to just be your friend. Like, just be her friend for a while. Because she's got a lot to kind of process and deal with. Coming out of a relationship, they say that for every year you're in a relationship, you need a month to heal. So I don't necessarily agree with that. It depends on the type of relationship she had as well. Like, what was the reason for her divorce, from them breaking up? Was there, was there issues there? Was there a big trauma that happened? Was it, they just kind of fizzled out? All of these things play a part in what her process is going to be coming out of that relationship. And it's not on you to kind of fix her or help, or you can help her by supporting her and being there for her, but it's not on you to fix her or kind of force her into, jumping from one thing to another thing. That's another part of the healing process after you come out of a relationship. Some people jump from one person to another person because, say for example, the person that you were with never used to call you after they finished work and you felt neglected, and then you meet someone and they call you all the time, so you think, oh yeah, this person's amazing because they're doing something that your previous person neglected. But that's you're taking that into account because of the comparison to your previous. You're not looking at that objectively in your own life. Like you might not like being called at certain times, but you won't know that because you've been in a relationship where there are certain habits and behaviors, and also dealing with people after a relationship. There are sometimes you're just a stepping stone. Like I've realized that, like you can be a stepping stone for someone to become a better version of themselves, or just be the person that is a support for someone till they reach another level of their life, which I think is kind of a neglected thing that people don't really talk about much. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think for you, from what you're saying, this other stuff that you've mentioned is neither here nor there. So, you're saying you're from different financial backgrounds, different love languages, and dependence and independence and stuff. That stuff's, it's not really that important. Like if you're serious about someone, these things don't necessarily matter. You can make it work. But I would say the issue here is just the amount of time. She hasn't had enough time to kind of be by herself and kind of heal and recover from her previous relationship. And she does seem like, she said she's a mother that's dependent on her. So she has kind of a pressure there and an obligation, which is going to be, it's going to take precedence over everything else. So I mean, I don't know what you haven't really said what your relationship status is, like if you're together or something, but I would just stick to being friends, man. Just be her friend, and if you can be there for her and you can kind of build on your friendship, then you'll learn more about if it would work in a relationship. And also think about what you want as well. Like, I mean, is this you're saying your friends are telling you to call it quits? Everyone who's known me is saying I should call it quits. But what do you think? Like, as in, like, is her friendship or her interactions with you, are there things about her that you find are compatible with you and that you like enjoy her company, and you have things that are in common that you get along with? Do you have the same outlook on certain things in life? Do you learn from her? All these things are important, so you have to kind of sit and just figure that out for yourself. Is there things that you think, okay, I don't think I could be with someone who was, maybe she's a Tory or something. Like, if there's like a very core thing about her that, like I've had situations where as soon as someone says something, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to get along with this person, or this is not going to work out. Because you can just tell. There's just like, the older you get, the more you know yourself, and the more you can just be like, right, it's not going to work with this person. Like, you're nice and, that's fine, but I'm me and I know that this isn't going to work because you think being I was going to say being racist is cool, but do you know what I mean? Like, being prejudiced or having, like, I'm not going to tell that story, but, sometimes people will allow once you get to know them a bit better, you get to know how they actually think and what they actually believe. The pretense isn't there anymore. And you can tell that's not a person that I'm going to get along with and I'm going to make something happen. But so, yeah, my advice is be her friend, and then take it from there. And don't put any pressure on anything, because she is going through it. She's healing. From a year from now, she's going to be a completely different person to the person she is right now. So if you got that in you to kind of have that patience and just be there for her as a friend and see how it develops, then yeah, it could work out. I wish you all the best, bro. Okay, next email. It says, hi Rax, not sure how many listeners will want to deep dive into psychology, but the subject fascinates me, so here we are. I recently went through a learning phase where I examined different reality dating shows from various countries and was intrigued by the fact that in South Korea, the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, MBTI, is a pervasive personality assessment that has become a cultural phenomenon, used by many to understand and categorize individuals for various social and personal interactions. Much like how blood types were once used, MBTI results are frequently discussed when meeting new people, in dating, or during team building activities, with people often using their 4-letter MBTI code to quickly define their personality. I thought it might be a fun topic to discuss in an upcoming podcast. Do you know your MBTI? Would you want someone else to know your MBTI if it meant they could unlock the code to your personality? Does it help to know how one functions before prolonged interactions with another, or does that lead to false assumptions and misled connections? Alternatively, you could also discuss the personality types or star signs since you're a Scorpio. Hope you're doing well. Love your art. Keep creating. I mean, that sounds really interesting. It's something that I'm going to have to like Google and look into. I haven't heard of it before, but it's interesting that you brought up horoscopes and star signs, because that's probably a kind of a cruder way of doing this same kind of thing, because I do that quite a bit. Knowing someone's sign kind of helps me know how I'll interact with them, or how I can navigate with them. Although it's not like, you know, it's not a succinct science, I don't think. You know, there's room for people having different traits in, like, it depends on all your placements, right? You can't just base someone on their sun sign. But there's another thing as well, like a personality thing, like IN. You know, people used to have this thing in their profiles. I don't know if they still do, but like INFJ, and I don't know if that's the same thing or something different. But different personality types. I don't know. I guess it's kind of it's like if you meet someone, they say I'm a bit of an introvert or I'm a bit of an extrovert. You're speaking generally, but you still have to get to know someone. I don't think you can kind of fully put someone in a box of what personality type they are based on whatever it is. Even like love languages, like the previous person in the email talks about, you have different love languages. Like that's not a precise science. Now, I read about love languages. I'm like, these are all great. Like, I don't feel like there's just one that, like, for me personally, I don't think there's just one. Like, I would be like, all of them. Like, all of them are great ways of expressing love, or having, you know, having a one love language. Like, if your one love language is quality time, does that mean that you don't care about anything else? You don't want any gifts, you don't want to be spoken, like, you know, words of affirmation. You don't want any of this stuff. You just want someone to spend time with you. So then you could just sit in a room, like, not doing anything, or quality time, however it is, you quality, I don't know. But I do feel like these things bleed into each other. And yeah, personality types, I think it helps you understand yourself more, and that's probably more important than for other people. Because I do feel like interactions, speaking to people and getting to know people is the best way about learning about them. And sometimes we put ourselves in a box. So someone will be like, oh, I'm like this. But you spend time with them and you can be like, you're not. Or, you know, you might think you're like that. Like, someone might think that they're an introvert, or they might say to themselves, to other people, I'm this. But you can spend time with them. Like, how many family members do you have, or friends that you have, and they might say they're like this, and you'll be like, no, you're not, because you can see how they interact with the world, or you can see their interactions with other people. So you have sometimes a clearer idea of who they are, or a more wider view of who a person is, rather than them having like a narrow view. And sometimes we put ourselves into a box of who we think we are, whereas we're bigger than that, or we're more than that, or we have more potential to be something bigger or more than that. But thank you for your email. It's something that I think I probably will look into. Okay, right. This is the next email. Hi Rax, I'm just trying to avoid saying anything personal about this person because they've added a lot of personal details. I'm glad to hear and see your recent podcast after a few years. Something. I moved during COVID. I have a dilemma that I'm going through. My friend who I thought was close is getting married. My friend who I thought was close is getting married to someone else today, when I actually adore her and love her a lot. Oh man. She didn't bother to invite. There's a lot of, I think, missing words in this, but she didn't bother to invite me to her wedding when we do work together for around 5 years or so. She messages me all the time. We've seen each other a few times as well. Plus, she supported me through my hard times with grief since I lost a loved one, and listens to me a lot. However, the guy that she's marrying doesn't like me at all, so she didn't invite me to her wedding. I feel super shit. Me and her are close and message a lot. She knows everything about me, and I imagined everything with her, and I enjoy it. What's the best thing for me to do? Bro, I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but I think the situation that you were in was possibly a little more one-sided on your side than it was. So the number one thing that I always say is accept reality. So the reality of the situation is you had a friend who you thought you were close to, or you probably were close to, like a friend of yours. She's gotten married. Her obligation and priority is going to be her husband and the person that she's married to. Now, her husband has said, you said he doesn't like you. I would assume because he kind of sees you as someone who is interested in his wife now. So they probably had conversations. You might have been brought up and he's been like, look, I don't like this guy because he clearly likes you. And she, being a nice person, being a friend to you, has always kind of listened and been there for you. Now, for you, you have to, one, obviously, like I said, accept the reality of the situation. And two, kind of see her she's a friend, bro. Like, don't make her a bigger part of your life than she actually is. I think you haven't made a move, I'm assuming, because if you have made a move, she's not clearly reciprocated because she's living her life. Like this woman has met someone, has married them, is getting married. You were not invited, like I said, for those reasons, probably because her husband to be and her current husband was like, it's not appropriate for you to be there. And also, why would you want to be there if you actually like this girl? Like, why would you want to go to her wedding? Because that's just a bit awkward as well, isn't it? Like, this is someone that you've potentially got feelings for, and you've said that you've felt stuff for her. So, why would you want to go to her wedding? What you should do is respect her marriage, like respect their union. And if you do value her as a friend, then just maintain a friendship and maintain a distance from her, which allows her to just be your friend and not be anything more, and let go of these kind of fantasies or ideas that you had of her being something way more, because she's not. She's really, really not, bro. She's a married woman, so respect that. And you've got the potential to meet someone who can be your future, who you can have a relationship with, who you can build a life with, who you can create a future with. And that person's still out there. So don't hold on to this, dream of this person, because they're not there. They're not there for you like that. They're not your person. they're a friend, and maintain that distance that friendship has, and look elsewhere. Find someone else, or get out there, meet people, and look for a potential partner elsewhere. And yeah, just kind of focus on yourself, bro. I know you said I think you said you feel so shit. You say you feel so shit. Was that Yeah, that was this email. Yeah, you said you feel so shit. I mean, messaging a lot doesn't mean anything, bro. Like, she's a friend. That doesn't mean that you're in a relationship with someone. And it is going to feel shit, but focus on yourself. Again, I think similar to the last episode, what I would say to the bros when you're going through this stuff is focus on yourself. Bring that energy that you're putting out to that person, bring it back, focus it on yourself. Get into good routines, focus on your health, get into some, get out of the house, do stuff. This is called, like, what they call is is it limerence? I'm sure it's called limerence. It's basically when you're kind of fixated on this person. And I've been there. I know how it feels. So I'm speaking from experience. You kind of focus on this person. You put all your thoughts and all your feelings, and you're just sitting in this goop of shit and just feeling shit and just thinking about all this crap and these conversations that you had and blah, blah, blah. All that stuff is in the past. You got to, like, imagine that there's a line of where the past was and where your future is, and you've just got to literally chop your connections off to anything that was in the past and focus on the future, because the future is going to be so much better. You're going to have so many more opportunities to meet amazing people and meet the right person and build an amazing future with that person. So the past is the past. Focus on yourself, get into a routine. If you're not doing any type of physical exercise, get into that and spend time with the bros. Spend time with people that you care about, that love you, that reciprocate, your family, your close friends. And yeah, just feel excited. Like, it's exciting, bro. Like, I think we kind of get into this place of putting our eggs in this basket of putting all our eggs in the basket of this one person. And bro, the world's a big place. The greatest things haven't happened yet. The people that we're gonna meet are they're not even, you can't even fathom that. I mean, there's an excitement to this. There's an excitement to being, having the opportunity to still meet someone and to go there. And I don't mean to shit on anyone who's married, but no, I'm not gonna. Just like married people, if you're in a happy marriage, God bless you, man. But there are some people who are in marriages who are not happy, and it's because they're in a routine or they've settled and all this kind of stuff. I'm not saying that this is what your friend has done. Your friend has just got married, so she's going to be very, very happy, and she should be, and wish her all the best from afar. You don't need to go to the wedding. But people that are married or have been married for a long time, they're normally the ones saying, you must be loving it, like living the single life and all this kind of stuff. And the people that are single are like, I wish I had someone. So the grass is always greener on the other side. But where you are right now is a great place. You just need to, like I said, bring your energy back to yourself, focus on yourself. And yeah, the best days are ahead. Okay, I thought it was going to be a short episode, but we got to 35 minutes. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Please salute my consistency for 2 weeks in a row getting the podcast done. I have got to get going now. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. Keep the emails coming in. hanjihellopodcast@gmail.com. Thank you. See you on the next one. Like this.